This week I'm driving the all new. This week I'm driving the new 2026. This week I'm driving the new 2026 Jeep Wrangler. I'm driving the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Moab 392. All right, so what is this thing? If you know anything about Jeep and the name brand of Moab, you'll get a quick idea of sort of what they're going for here. Best off-roading ability, lots of power, but also everyday refinement. Of course, that 392 badge tells you what's under the hood. Big, powerful V8, not really associated with Jeeps much. Of course, they've been doing this for a few years, and we have driven the 2024 Rubicon 392. So obviously it's powerful, obviously it's capable, but kind of the question I have when driving these things is, how is it to live day to day? Is it a good family hauler? Is it just hilariously fun? How is it out on DFW roads, highways? Those are the kind of things we're gonna dive into in this review. I'm Adam, this is TXGarage. Let's get into it. All right, and again, if you know Jeep, you know that they build this thing in basically every flavor that anybody would ever want. There's a ton of different trim levels, different options, different configurations. So we're not going to spend too much time on the trims, but you can go anywhere from a base sport trim all the way up to the Rubicon trims, the 392 trims, the 4xe trims, which are some of my favorite for Jeep, which we'll talk about later. This one, of course, is the 392 Moab, standard with a winch, standard with these beefy tires. We're going to get into all of it. So let's just dive in, starting with the exterior. This one wears that Army Green 41 exterior paint, a throwback color that looks right at home on modern Wranglers and turns heads everywhere we went. The Moab package adds serious presence with the worn winch mounted up front, giving it that ready for anything stance without needing to visit the aftermarket on day one. The Sky One Touch Power top makes dropping the roof quick and easy. I'll show you that as we jump inside, but it's perfect for those Texas blue sky days like we're having today. Though you do trade a little bit of wind protection at highway speeds, and the removable rear quarter windows are genuinely useful when you're trying to air things out after a muddy trail run. Body cladding is chunkier than the Sahara. The fender flares sit tight over the tires, and the overall design still screams heritage, while the Moab badging tells you this one sits in that sweet spot between the Rubicon capability and everyday usability. Taillights are the familiar boxy LEDs. Mirrors are big enough for towing visibility, and the whole package rides on suspension tuned more for articulation than freeway plushness. And one thing you'll see in the 392 is the hood scoop, and that is functional. We'll take a look at that when we pop the hood, but first let's check out the cargo hatch. So coming back here, as you should expect, the Jeep has the traditional swing out gate here with the lift up back glass, giving you a ton of room for loading up stuff. We don't have them here, but I definitely recommend the all-weather floor mats for the back. We do have the cover for putting the side panels in. Cargo space behind the rear seats works for a ton of different functions, whether you're just carrying a camera bag like me, loading it up for soccer games, bags or gear for a weekend camping trip. This thing will haul a ton, and you can always fold that second row down if you're not carrying people, and then carry a ton more equipment. For a family, it handles the basics, but reminds you that it's an icon first and a hauler second. All right, let's go pop the hood and check out that big V8 engine. And like any Jeep, you have the hood latches on either side to pop that hood, and you can immediately see the networking of air coolers from that functional hood scoop, and of course, the massive engine. And here lies the 6.4 liter HEMI V8, making 470 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. It's hooked to an 8-speed automatic transmission and the 2.72 to 1 Select Track full-time 4-wheel drive system with off-road plus mode. Really means this thing can do some work for you. This Moab also gets the True Lock front axle and front disconnecting stabilizer bar for better articulation when you need it. EPA ratings come in at 14 cities, 16 highway, and 13 combined. I'll talk about what I've been averaging for my full week when we get to the drive portion. But there's no denying that the star of this vehicle is this engine, and it's a miracle that Jeep is even able to shove that thing in here and just make it all work. And with that, let's jump in the interior, start taking a look at the inside, and then we'll take it out on the road and see how it drives. Black leather seats, red contrast stitching, heated seats, premium materials, power opening roof. The Moab offers a lot of great features inside. Let me pick you up and give you a proper look around. All right, and first off, it is a little bit tight in here, so even the widest lens doesn't do this justice. I'm 6'1", a bit of a bigger guy, and it's definitely snug for me. But you get a lot of creature comforts. Again, these black Nappa leather seats, the red contrast stitching look really good, but these are heated seats, which are great. Even in Texas summer, I do turn on the heated seats with the AC on in the mornings. You even have premium touches on the door panels and the front dash with the grab handle here. Up on the dash, we do have a rail here. This is for mounting gear on, cameras, different things. Yes, even ducks can go here if you're into that kind of thing with your Jeep. You do have a nice wide touchscreen display with Uconnect. A really good system overall. You do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto connectivity. There is a bunch buried in the touchscreen, but you do have physical buttons for a lot of things as well. So below the screen are all your AC and heat controls, your heated steering wheel button, heated seat button over here, active exhaust button. You have off-roading cruise control. You have obviously your window switches all on this side here instead of being on the doors. USB-C and A ports. You have auxiliary switches down here. You have your lockers right here. Your 4-wheel transfer right here. So you have 4-high auto, 4-high, and 4-low. And then obviously your traditional gear shifter, cup holders, handbrake, console, nice and padded with that leather. You have 2 different openings here, so a small one that holds a toolkit, and then another a little bit larger one. Steering wheel, fully round, nice Jeep steering wheel. You do have buttons for interfacing with the digital screen for your driver information, and then obviously like cruise control settings, paddle shifters. You do have a digital screen in the middle. You can see we've been averaging 14.2 miles to the gallon, and that's with sitting here idling for a while doing the video. You can flip that through and see different information if you need to, including some of your off-roading info. And then of course your actual gauges are analog. We have that power opening roof, which is great. Great way to go open air without having to climb out and pull a roof off and then store it. Back seats are plenty big for what this thing is. I had the kids 3 wide back there with no big issues. Wouldn't want to do a road trip, especially with all adults packed in this thing, but for daily commutes, it's been just fine. And there's not too much else to say here on the interior. It's a Jeep, and it's pretty well equipped. But let's do the thing that probably a lot of you are here to see. Let's get this thing out on the road. Fire up that 6.4 liter HEMI, and the exhaust note is pure theater. You're definitely not sneaking out of the house early in the morning or late at night, because you're going to wake up your family and all the neighbors just by starting this thing up. It's loud in the best way. That deep V8 rumble that makes people at stoplights turn and grin, especially people that don't know about the Jeep having a 392 under the hood. They're usually floored. The power is ridiculous in a Wrangler. Torque hits hard and early, and it feels completely unhinged for something this tall and boxy. 0 to 60 in the low 4-second range is still hilarious every single time, but daily driving is where the compromise hits. This Moab with its suspension rocks back and forth every time you get on the gas or touch the brakes. It's bouncy on normal streets, a little bit bouncy on the highway. The steering is vague, and wind noise, even with the top fully closed, can get tiring on a long commute. So as you saw, I've been averaging just over 14 miles per gallon combined, which is a little bit above the EPA estimate. You're stopping for fuel pretty often, and at Texas pump prices, that's not as bad as some places, but it can add up fast. One of the things that I've noticed is the GPS on this thing is wildly crazy and has no idea where you are most of the time. Touching on the off-road characteristics of this, now I didn't take this Moab 392 off-road during my week with it. I have driven the Rubicon 392 off-road and plenty of other Wrangler configurations off-road. But the formula is familiar and strong. The full-time four-wheel drive, locking axle, and stabilizer disconnect would make it a beast with that instant V8 torque, letting you power through sand or mud like a mini TRX. It would crawl rocks with confidence and feel unstoppable, just like the 392 Final Edition I reviewed before. The Moab package feels like the refined version of that vehicle, still raw, but a little bit more polished for people who want a little bit better of a drive to the trailhead instead of trailering. This does have driving tech like lane keeping assist and driver aids that are basic. They work, but don't feel as refined as some other vehicles, which is fine for a Jeep in my opinion. For my family of 6, reality with soccer gear, school runs, and weekend adventures, the bouncy ride and fuel thirst make it more weekend toy than a daily driver. I've said it before and I'll say it again. My personal pick is the Wrangler 4xe for Texas life. That instant electric torque, better MPG, and ability to run on electric around town just makes more sense for commuting and light trails without the constant gas stops. Again, one of my favorite off-roading experiences was in a 4xe, completely open air, no engine note, just climbing hills, breaking branches, crumbling leaves, all completely without an engine note covering up anything. It's a real surreal moment, and if you get a chance to jump in a 4xe on a trail, do it. All right, and with that, let's pull over and start talking about the price. All right, so this Moab 392 that we have here came in at $86,320 with destination. Base Wranglers obviously start much lower, but once you option up into a 392 package with the Moab package, leather, winch, and the power top, it's going to be in the mid-80s. You can get higher than that with the Rubicons and get into the 90s or even higher. I've driven most of the direct competitors to this and have driven most of the recent ones, and there are quite a bit. You have the Bronco Raptor, Wild Track. They're a bit bigger, somewhat more refined, but I think you pay a higher price on like wind noise, and obviously the bigger vehicle isn't necessarily the better for off-roading. Then you have the new Toyota 4Runner. I have driven it. I haven't spent a ton of time in it. I know a lot of people are a little bit more upset with the new engine spec, but it's a great day-to-day driver and still very capable, but you lose open air freedom that a Jeep gives you. I also recently drove the Toyota Land Cruiser, basically one of my favorite vehicles that are day-to-day vehicles that I wouldn't mind taking to downtown, wouldn't mind taking to the office, but can still handle themselves well off-road. But bottom line, of course, the Jeep has its fan base, but the Moab 392 specifically is targeting a very niche audience in what's already kind of a niche audience. You'll know right away if this is what you're looking for, if you're able to make the compromises that it takes to drive this thing every day, or if it's just something that you buy as a second vehicle for when you're ready to hit a campsite or trails. So let me jump out. I'll give you some of my final thoughts and we'll wrap this video up. All right, guys, and at the end of the week, I'm kind of at the same place with this, obviously, as the 392 Rubicon that I drove last year. The Moab 392 is pure ridiculous fun. Every time you crank it on, hear that V8 roar into existence, slam your foot on the accelerator, tilt the suspension back and roar down the street. Obviously still capable as any other Wrangler to get around, go anywhere, and tackle basically any terrain. The Moab 392 is able to give you that big grin without going into overkill territory. The Nappa leather and the winch show both the capability and comfort that Jeep is going for with this thing. But for Texas family life, for day-to-day commuting, for family hauling, the realities are really hard to ignore here. The ride is bouncy, the fuel bill is a bit of a sting. If you're looking for a comfortable daily driver or family hauler, this isn't it. If you're looking for the most efficient while still being able to handle basically any trail, this isn't quite it. But if you want to smile like an idiot while going down the road like an idiot and be able to tackle basically any trail, this is your option. And with that, I hope you really enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the 392, the Moab, the Wrangler for 2026, shoving a V8 in here. What are your thoughts? Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We do a different review every week. Lots of great content here for families, for off-road, EVs, crazy V8s, whatever you want. We've got something for you. Also check out TXGarage.com where we've got a lot of written reviews as well as event news coverage from a lot of great authors over there, not just myself. Really worth checking out TXGarage.com. With that, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching.